Hello everyone, it's Crypto Giga Chad. Welcome to Crypto Giga Chad's YouTube channel. I'm back everyone. I'm sorry I've been sick recently, but more importantly, been getting ready for a massive move to the UK with my family. I'm super excited to tell you guys all about that. And I'm going to be arriving on the 22nd of July in the UK. Super pumped about that, and I'm going to be doing a special video for when I arrive. Hopefully we can make more Crypto Giga Chads in the UK. I'm sure there's plenty of them already. I know plenty that are there. Today in this video, we're going to talk about the top 10 cryptocurrencies for 2021 and 2022 that I think you need to jump in on straight away. A lot of you have been asking me what the hell is going on in the market. It's been a bit up and down. Now, the first thing I'll say about that is we are in what is known as an accumulation pattern or a minor bear market. That's my idea of it. Again, everybody has their different opinion on that if you go to different YouTube channels, but I think you've got an opportunity to buy a lot of cryptocurrencies at a discount before it starts going up, which is it inevitably will in the next 1 to 3 months. So get onto that as soon as possible. If you are thinking of jumping in, I think now is the perfect time while the prices are low. It was funny because everybody started buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies when it was at 65 grand. Now it's at, we're talking US dollars, now it's at around, well, what is it, 33,000, well, floating between 30 and 33, and nobody wants to buy it, or everyone's a bit hesitant. I think that's crazy. I think I've been accumulating. I think everyone should be accumulating Bitcoin and the various cryptocurrencies we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump on into number one. Number one is Bitcoin. We've been speaking about it for quite a while. No surprises here. I think everybody needs to hold this. Maybe not for the most of your portfolio in terms of volume or amount, but definitely you need exposure, and I think a fair bit of exposure for risk or to account for risk with Bitcoin. So obviously it's the king of cryptocurrencies. It's what everything's hedged against, when it moves the market. It is what most people consolidate into when the market is volatile like it is now. So you're seeing a lot of people consolidate into Bitcoin. It's going up, it's going down, it's trending sideways or trending sideways. But I think you need exposure to Bitcoin. As we have discussed inflation, we've discussed where everything's going. It's the king of that technology. You're seeing the Taproot upgrade, which is basically an upgrade to make Bitcoin more efficient and more secure and more private, which is just coming into play now, which is super important. Things are getting developed on Bitcoin. You're seeing a lot of things come out and development coming out there. So one of the things to address at the moment, which is flavor of the month, is the Chinese mining operations that are now being shipped out of China because China is banning cryptocurrency, surprise, surprise, for the millionth time, which is really, really good for the green energy production or renewable energy production in Bitcoin. So those mining operations will move over the next sort of few months across to Kazakhstan, the US, across the world. You'll see more green or more renewable energy production associated with Bitcoin, which is great because it means it's likely going to give or pull a trigger on a number of companies that were waiting to invest in Bitcoin until that happens. So I think overall really good news there, but Bitcoin is number one. You have to buy that if you're looking at setting up cryptocurrency exposure. I think you'd be mad not to. You still can if you're not really a fan and you think Bitcoin's going to sort of sit around the same price, which we all know it's not. But yeah, it's personal preference, up to you, but I would recommend, and what I'm doing myself is certainly adding a bit of exposure every sort of 1 to 3 weeks to Bitcoin. Number two is Ethereum. Ethereum is the number 2 size or second largest cryptocurrency that's out there at the moment. It is a fantastic product. Well, it's been around for a while. I think everybody knows that. Created by Vitalik Buterin, who basically is a man who speaks like a robot. That's a giveaway that he's really quite clever. Or actually, if you actually listen to the content, all jokes aside of what he says, the guy is quite clever, and the original founders are really, really clever if you listen to how Ethereum started. Ethereum, you'd probably liken it to something like the .com era, the beginning of the internet for cryptocurrency. You'll see a lot of platforms and a lot of projects are deployed on Ethereum. Ethereum is the main sort of platform for that. We're hearing rumors about the Chinese digital yuan being deployed on Ethereum itself. A lot of central business currencies or central banking currencies, I should say, are looking to be deployed on Ethereum, which means its value is going to go up over time. Also, you would have heard about decentralized finance, which we'll get to in a completely different video. But DeFi, most DeFi projects are deployed on Ethereum or Binance. They're probably the two main platforms they're deployed on, but the majority are deployed on Ethereum. So we're talking about Uniswap and various other projects. There's numerous, we're not going to go through all of those. Obviously, your NFTs, the majority of NFTs are deployed on Ethereum as well. It's live, it's been around for a while, stood the test of time, and we're seeing a lot of institutional investment in Ethereum. It's very, very promising as a project. Ethereum version 2 is supposed to be coming out soon. I expect that project to be delayed, or the development to be delayed, but it's going to become deflationary as well, to change the way that it approves or verifies transactions, which is great for the network. I think you'd be crazy not to hold that as well. Really, really good project. Lucky number three is Cardano. I love this project. It is the one that I think has the most promise, and I'm not alone in that sentiment. I think there is a heck of a lot of people that are saying the same thing, and you're probably wondering or thinking to yourself, why? Why are people so bullish or hot on Cardano? Well, let me tell you. I think that Cardano has the greatest potential out of any cryptocurrency that we're currently seeing in the market. It is the most decentralized. We can see in 2021, if you compare it to even Ethereum and Bitcoin or the major sort of market cap cryptocurrencies, it's had over 600% return on investment, which is completely nuts, and it still has a lot more room to grow. It is a project that was founded by Charles Hoskinson, who, if you don't know who he is, I suggest looking at his YouTube channel. He has some great insight on numerous topics. It's not just tied to cryptocurrency. Great insight, very, very intelligent guy. I'd also recommend watching him recently on the Lex Friedman podcast, where he details the use case for Cardano. It's a little bit intellectual if you're not into that, into 5.5 hours of conversation, because let's be honest, who is? But yeah, it's quite a good watch and very, very intriguing. So Cardano hasn't really been around for very long. And Charles, who used to work for Ethereum, was one of the original founders of Ethereum, decided to create a better project in his eyes, which is Cardano, which is essentially run by the users and the staking programs, or staking sort of people that are associated with staking around the world. It is one of the best and more efficient cryptocurrencies, certainly great for renewable energy if you're into that, if that's one of the tick boxes you're looking for investments in general, and I think that's future-proofing your investment as well. Its staking rewards are fantastic. So staking is just essentially you're becoming part of the verification process, which you can do on Binance or various other platforms, which I'll go into in a later video. But what that means is you can get typically around 5 to 7% per annum paid in Cardano by staking it, which is amazing. And I really like that about the project. I like the way it's headed. I like what they're doing with African nations. They've set up development funds around the world. They're really tied. I know Charles' major passion, or Charles Hoskinson, the owner of Cardano, his main passion in life is to really create a banking system or a finance system for people who are unbanked in countries that have never had the opportunity or exposure to that. We can see that with the deals that they're setting up in Ethiopia, in Tanzania, and various other countries in Africa. Because let's be honest, Africa as a continent will be the next major superpower of the world, and that will be built out of labor, both from a software perspective and from a traditional labor perspective, because it's essentially cheaper than other countries. So it will grow very fast, and he's jumping in on that bandwagon early, and it's not a nefarious means of doing it. It is for the right reasons, which I love, and that's one of the main reasons behind people that really enjoy and are really tied to Cardano as a community. And that's one of the other things I look for when I'm looking at investments. I'm looking at, in cryptocurrencies, I'm looking at the ownership or the leadership team. With Cardano, you've got one of the best in cryptocurrency. You're looking for obviously green energy, and if they're looking closely at implementing emerging trends, one across cryptocurrency but just across technology in general, which Cardano are. And then you're looking for a really strong community, and then obviously a strong technical analysis and where that product's going. So we can see Cardano has had nothing but really good quality gains. It is held up strong with that recent dip too. So that is my number 3 cryptocurrency. It is a fantastic project, and I certainly recommend doing your own research into it, and I think you'll like what you see. 4 is Chainlink. Chainlink is a great project, and I'm going to get from 4 through to 10, guys, all the way throughout the video, and save yourself for the last 2 because they're going to be a bit surprising. But also I'm going to go through the ones that I'd grab straight away. Now it's changed a little bit because of the recent market fluctuation, so hang on to the end of the video and I will go through that with you. Now it's important to understand what a smart contract is when it comes to Chainlink, and why it is important in the grand schemes of the cryptocurrency land. So A smart contract is basically an automated contract or agreement between two parties that's executed by means of code. So an automated means of code. Now, a lot of these contracts are financially motivated or based. So where are you going to grab the data feeds that are associated with these contracts in order for them to settle? That's where Chainlink comes in. Now, it has what's known as oracles, which are basically decentralized repositories of information that feed through to settle these smart contracts. So why is that important to you, and why do you think you should get involved in that project? Well, it means that they are the #1 provider of these data feeds, or what they refer to as oracles. And most of the DeFi projects, which we've spoken about earlier when we were talking about Ethereum, use Chainlink as a partner. So it already has really good use cases. It's got massive partners already. It's a great project, and one that I think has got a lot of room to grow. There's a long way for it to go, even when it comes to Cardano, and when it's going to need to receive feeds from Chainlink for those very reasons as well. So that is why I think you've got to hold Chainlink, and that is why it's my number 4. 5, Litecoin. Litecoin is often described as the silver to Bitcoin's gold. Now, what do people mean when they're saying that? Well, what they mean is Bitcoin is the gold standard of cryptocurrency. Litecoin, which has been around for almost the same amount of time, is a smaller version of Bitcoin in a way. It's deflationary, it's structured in the same way. It has some interesting intricacies to it that make it subtly different to Bitcoin. But I think you need to hold it for that very reason, because it's silver. Now, once a lot more retail comes into cryptocurrency, a lot more purchasing comes into cryptocurrency, which is inevitable. Really, I think there's only about 4 or 5% of the world that invest in cryptocurrency. People will be reviewing projects more than ever, and I think Litecoin will really come to the fore there. It has a lot of use cases. I think one of the key things is that PayPal have it down for one of their 4 cryptocurrencies that they accept, with those being Ethereum, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. I think Litecoin is out of the 4, it's the fastest and better version of those cryptocurrencies. So I think a lot of people will be using that cryptocurrency. It has more utility than Bitcoin, and obviously has a lower market cap. And when people first enter into cryptocurrency, they look at Bitcoin's price and they think, well, I can't afford a Bitcoin because it's worth $30,000 or $40,000 US, whereas Litecoin is worth $120 a coin. I can much more, well, a retail investor will think, I can probably invest in Litecoin and buy more Litecoin, particularly if it is going to go to the market cap that Bitcoin is right now, which it's not going to do that anytime soon, but I certainly think it has a lot of room to grow, and it hasn't kicked off yet, so I think it will inevitably go up at some point in 2021, 2022. So for those reasons, I think that's great. I think it's also got a great project, great team, great project, been around for a while, great partners. I think it's certainly a project you need to look at more closely and do your own research on, but it's definitely in my portfolio, and I think you need to take a closer look and put it in yours. Number 6, guys, is VChain. I've spoken about VChain before. Now we're going to get into why I think it's a great, fantastic project. So VChain is a project that is predominantly focused on supply chain management. What do I mean by that is there's a hell of a lot of counterfeit goods in the supply chain industry, and various issues with the way that it's structured. We've seen that recently in the news, and VChain solves a lot of those problems. It can be used on RF. This is one use case that I think it really sort of highlights the use case of it, and you can sort of blow this up into various different means, which is why they have so many good partners. But you can use VChain as an RFID, which we're seeing we all have to log in with COVID and contract tracing around. You can use it for vaccines, for example, and put it on a vaccine, which is happening already, to know that that vaccine is exactly what it says it is. So impossible for it to be counterfeit because of the way that blockchain technology works and is structured. So that's one use case. You can obviously see how that extrapolates out into cars, handbags, various other retail items. It is fantastic, such a great project for that, and it's really focused on expanding into those industries, which make it a project that has enormous room for growth and enormous potential. Coupled with the fact that the staking rewards are great. It's got 2 separate coins there, so it's got VChain and VChain Thor. You can get paid in both when you use it to stake, so the passive income element is fantastic, like Cardano, which bumps it up a few notches for me. in terms of the partners that they have, they've got numerous ones like PwC, BMW, some really large names, as well as use cases in hospitals. Salesforce have recently trialed it out to deploy if it enters the SaaS space and is used as a secure network to manage software as a service and hosting, or the financial element of software as a service. That's going to be huge. I think that, again, the room for growth for VChain is huge. The one minor drawback that I will say, based on the last video, is China's recent crackdown on cryptocurrency, which has caused me to hold back on investing anything into it until we know more. Now, it's highly likely that China is still going to continue their various partnerships with VChain in China. However, that is a risk when entering it. I want to call that out just for anyone that is going to do their research to do that more thoroughly and extensively when looking at VChain. I still hold a whole bunch. It's just that now I'm being quite cautious on that front because of the recent news. Number 7 is Matic. Matic is a great solution to invest in 2021-22. It is a Ethereum-based project. It's a layer 2 solution. So you may or may not have heard of layer 2 before. All that means is that Matic is deployed on Ethereum, which is fantastic because guess what? It speeds Ethereum up. The biggest drawback and problem with Ethereum that's often pulled out by people who are Cardano maximalists, or people who prefer Cardano or Polkadot or AVAX or various other competitors to Ethereum, is that the gas fees are too high. Now, gas is just another word of saying a transaction fee. And the reason it becomes high is when there's too much congestion or too many people are using Ethereum at once. This happens often with Uniswap, where you're trying to swap between one coin and another, which basically just means you're trying to convert, let's say, Bitcoin for a lower cap coin, like a VChain or various other cryptocurrencies that you were looking at purchasing with another coin. Now, when too many people do that at once, it causes congestion and causes gas fees to go up. So gas fees can go up to prioritize your transaction over others, so you can pay additional to if you want your transaction to happen faster than others, but basically it slows everything down and makes everything become more expensive. That's where Matic comes in. Matic reduces the gas fees, which is fantastic. It's exactly what you're looking for out of a solution. Now, it is, a lot of people would then argue that once you get to version 2 of Ethereum, that Matic is going to become redundant in 2022. I disagree. I think Matic is always going to be around to enhance the Ethereum network and basically layer it with more productivity. One of the greatest things about Matic is just staking rewards. Now, you can go all the way up to 30% annually on Matic or higher. I've seen 37% that you get annually by staking Matic, and you can do that on something like Binance. It's pretty easy to do. So for that reason alone, it's worth holding Matic if you want that passive income. And if you wanted to convert the Matic that you receive in payment weekly on Binance or daily on Binance into other coins like Bitcoin, for example, you could do that once it reaches a certain amount. There's a lot of different things you can do with it outside of that. I think it's a great project, great team, heavily tied to Vitalik on Ethereum, heavily endorsed by the greater network of Ethereum as well. And anything that sort of plugs in the gaps and solves that problem, and essentially is performing a lot of what Polkadot does, which is a competitor to Ethereum, or basically enhances Ethereum to then sort of take away all the advantages that Polkadot has. In my opinion, is a great solution and something that you should hold given the context of how important Ethereum is going to become. Number 8. PancakeSwap. Now, you may have seen all the coins out there that are named after foods, and I love pancakes the most, so that's why I've invested in PancakeSwap. The end. Let's go on to the next one. No, I'm kidding. All right. So PancakeSwap is, in my opinion, the best way to swap coins because it has the lowest cost to do that. We spoke about Ethereum gas fees just before. Now, BNB has little to no gas fees. You get charged nothing, which is why PancakeSwap has been so popular. And I think you're better off, instead of investing directly into BNB, which I suggest you do anyway, but they're not in my top 10, but I think BNB is fantastic. And Binance as a company is obviously fantastic as well. I think you're going to get better ROI into PancakeSwap because of the way that its use case for yield farming, its use case for swapping coins. I think it's the best version of that. It has various other aspects to it, and I certainly recommend going and diving into that as well. Like there's little lotteries you can do on it. It's just a really good user interface, which I certainly really enjoy. But yeah, I think PancakeSwap in terms of a project, it does lose points because you don't know who the team is at PancakeSwap. So I certainly would recommend not putting too much exposure in terms of your portfolio to it, but I definitely think it's got a lot of room to grow, and I think it's going to grow in popularity as we see more users jump onto the Ethereum network in Uniswap and use that as that gains popularity, I think naturally people are going to migrate across from Uniswap to PancakeSwap, and I think it's going to be used quite a fair bit both now and into 2022 before that Ethereum version 2 comes into play. And I still think it's going to have a fantastic use case from there on out, just because of the way that it looks, feels, and the way that you can use it for yield farming and various other things. Now, yield farming we'll get into in another video. It's another thing in itself, but if you're looking at getting into passive income, and this is going to sound insane, guys, but it's legit, I can tell you right now, I've seen it myself, you can get up to 300% APY, annual interest, on your coins by yield farming, which is insane, and it's paid hourly. So you can actually get into that, and we will get into that soon. But that's one of the reasons why PancakeSwap is so valuable and so good, and why I think you need to hold it in your portfolio. We're getting there, guys. Number 9 is Enjin. So we've gone through 8 different coins, and we've had barely any NFT exposure outside of obviously Ethereum. However, let's dive into what I think is the king of NFTs, with over 2 billion NFTs or non-fungible tokens on its blockchain right now, and that is Enjin. The reason I like Enjin so much is because we've spoken about one of the reasons why you want to jump into that project is their team is fantastic. Let's just say that straight off the bat. It's the king of NFTs, in my opinion. Obviously, we've just mentioned how many they have, over 2 billion, and they're into gaming, and they're going to be, in my opinion, the cryptocurrency, or number 1 cryptocurrency for the gaming network into the future, which means that you can use a currency in gaming. What do I mean by that? Well, you can have a non-fungible token through a minting process. Now, I sound like I'm talking absolute gibberish for those who don't really understand what that is. So let me break it down for you. NFT is something that is set in stone on a blockchain, so it forever exists. Now imagine you're playing one of your propeller head games like I do. I'll say, I'll jump in, I do that. Like Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction, you find one of the best items in the game. Now, you want to melt that item down for whatever reason, or you want to mint that item and hold on to it. You can do various things with it, but it is worth something. Traditionally, you'd have to go onto some kind of centralized platform, or some kind of market where you'd sell that item for pittance, and hold on to it. And eventually, as that game becomes unpopular, it sort of goes off into the nether region, and it loses its value over time. Well, imagine if you could sell or unmint that item. So you could mint it first and foremost and turn it into an NFT, which you will be able to do via Enjin, and then you could actually unmint that and turn it into a coin or a cryptocurrency to use to purchase other items, or sell it into actual money. Now, Enjin gives you exposure and ability to do that, which I think, and it's one of the reasons I jumped into it, because I thought that was a really good idea, a use case. Again, it's great in terms of market cap. It's certainly gaining exposure. We've got partners like Microsoft, which is crazy. A lot of different gaming organizations are sitting up and taking notice for this, because I think it's going to be one of the biggest things to come out of the NFT space, and it's going to keep on rolling. Now, the NFT bubble, a lot of people are saying that it's popped. I don't think so at all. I think we're only getting started from that perspective, and I think Enjin is one of the best exposures that you can, or one of the best projects you can expose yourself to from a cryptocurrency standpoint. Now, I think less should be allocated to it for obvious reasons. However, I do think it's got a good project. It's got everything's going for it at the moment, and it's certainly in an emerging industry. Coupled with the fact, the last thing I'll leave you with is it's got negative carbon exposure, which I know is key for anyone looking at investing. If we're talking about a heavy duty investment level, it's something they sit up and take notice of. So I think that definitely adds or enhances Enjin as a project, and it's the reason why I'm exposed to it, because again, I'm a bit of a nerdy gamer myself, and I know a lot of you out there are as well. If you're a closet one, or if you're open to it, I don't give a crap, because you're a chat as well. Everybody likes gaming, and it's only going to get more and more popular, and we're going to see more and more exposure of it. Number 10, guys. 10, you made it to the end. We're going to go through another NFT play, which is Chiliz. So Chiliz is an cryptocurrency that is exposed to sporting teams and the sporting world. Another huge passion of mine, and that's another reason why I'm into this project. So another great team in terms of the team that's with Chiliz, or team that developed Chiliz. But more importantly, it's a use case that is very, very intriguing, because I think the missing network between the fan and the team is the ability to be more involved into the team, which I know there's rabid fans out there, particularly when we talk about the actual football played with your feet, which is soccer for those layman people that like to call it that. I think one of the missing elements of that at the moment, particularly with COVID, there's that missing element of fan interaction. Who knows, with the recycling of COVID and lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, teams are going to want more exposure to their fans. Fans are going to want more exposure to their teams. What if you could vote using cryptocurrency on what your team does, on who your team transfers, or on buying merchandise, or just being more involved from a financial standpoint into your team? So if we talk about a team like Wimbledon FC in England that is entirely fan-owned, or a team like Barcelona as well, which could be managed by a cryptocurrency and probably will into the future, that would be Chiliz. That's the exposure. And they already have partnerships with some massive teams like Juventus, like PSG, they're in the Champions League. Now they've made a recent massive partnership with the UFC, so they're going to be involved in various aspects and elements of the UFC. So the possibilities for this project are endless. It's an NFT project as well. In my opinion, it's got a lot of room to grow. We're talking about different areas that it could expand into. One could be the NBA, one could be NFL, there could be various other sports like cricket that they get involved in as well. There's a huge amount of people that are obviously, if we talk about the IPL or the Indian Cricket League as well, massive exposure there, the Big Bash here locally in Australia. I think Chiliz has a lot of potential in the sporting world, and that's why I have some exposure to it. Coupled with the fact that it's got a great team, it's something that I'm quite passionate about, and obviously an NFT as well, which is, I think you've got to have some kind of exposure to that as well in your portfolio. And after doing some extensive research on it, I think it's a great project and I invested in it. Well, you stuck around for 10 of my top 10 cryptocurrencies, so thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content. You've got to do that, guys. Want to see more subscribers, want to see you in the comments telling me what your top 10 cryptocurrencies are for 21-22. None of the stupid, ridiculous people that are coming on there telling you that Bob Dole is their favorite trader and he's helped them make $10 billion in the last week. Just ignore the bots and things that come along to cryptocurrency YouTube channels. I'd like to see some interaction from you guys. Just tell me what you're interested in. Tell me if there's projects that I've missed. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm an ape. Tell me if I'm Harambe. Let me know. Just keen to know a little bit more about what you're invested in. And obviously got more videos coming out. Gonna get into micro cap coins and what I think the top 10 or top 5 micro cap coins are for 2021-22. So they're the smaller ones that you haven't heard about that may go up in the next 1 to 2 years, which may or may not be of interest depending on how much you want to expose yourself to this market. So thanks for sticking around. I'm Crypto Giga Chad. Don't forget, guys, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with a new video.